In this video tutorial, we're going to be creating a space game that coincides with um, Lesson 5 in the book Introduction to Video Game Design by Dr. Michael Plore. All right, so you can see that what we're going to be creating is a space game that's UFO themed. And we're going to be using sprites found in GameMaker 8.1 and also found by creating them from scratch using the sprite editor. So we go into the game and we want to start a new game, and we can get rid of this over here, and we're going to start by creating a background, and we want the background color to be black, and okay, and we're going to call this room underscore 1, and caption for the game or for the room could be UFO game. It's a good caption. So we've created our room number 1. Of course, we can double click and come back into it when we want to work on it. And we're going to start making our sprites. The first sprite we're going to want will be in our space folders that come with GameMaker 8.1. And we're going to want the UFO, and we're going to want to click on Remove the Background and hit Open. And this is just how we want it. So we'll name it SPR underscore UFO. And we hit OK. And then we create a sprite, load sprites. We're going to come in here and we're going to pick Meteorite large number 1. All right, you'll see there's planets here. There's like a little planet Earth, and there's cloudy planets. There's Mars. There's rocket ships. So there's all types of things we can have, but we're going to start with Meteorite large number 1. We want to remove the backgrounds, and we hit open. And we're going to edit the sprite. So what we're going to do is we're going to, under the animation, we're going to hit a rotate sequence. So right now this is just a picture, just a rock, but what we're going to do is we're going to get so that it rotates clockwise. And the number of frames, we can have all different frames. Let's do 10 frames and 360 degrees and hit OK. All right, and we could show a preview over here. And you can see that we have, say, this little nook right here. It goes over. So we can have 20 frames, 30 frames. We can have as many frames or a few, 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames, as many or as few as we want. We can change, we have no background right now. We can change the speed, so it's at 30. We can do it to 15. All right, so you can see that's a little bit slower. We can change it to 10. That's nice and slow. I like 15, so let's go with 15. That looks like a good speed. And then we'll hit OK. So now we have this has a rotation. And we'll hit OK. Oh, wait. Before we hit OK, we'll give it a name. SPR underscore Meteor underscore. Oops, this is supposed to be E. And then LG for large. Then we hit OK. So we have that up there. Now we're going to create another sprite, and we want this sprite to be underscore Meteor underscore MD for medium. We load a sprite. We want our medium Meteorite sprite 1, remove the background, hit OK. We're going to edit the sprite. We're going to do the animation rotation counterclockwise. We're going to do 10 frames again. And we're going to make this one go faster. Let's do 25. do 20. No, 25 looks nice. All right, so 25. So as the meteorites get smaller, hopefully they'll gain more inertial momentum or rotational momentum. So we got that. We hit OK. And then we're going to add a little meteor, so small number 1. Move background, hit open. Edit sprite. We want, let's see what we want. Animation, rotation sequence, clockwise again. Let's do 8. See, that goes a little bit faster. We'll move this up to 30 and see how that looks. 30. That looks even better. We hit OK. All right, we name this SPR underscore Meteor underscore SM. And we hit OK. Okay, let's go ahead and file, save this, and we'll call this our last name with our first initial capital underscore Meteors. So last name, first initial underscore Meteors. And what we want to do now that we have all these put in here, and I changed these numbers because I like them better. But you can have any numbers you want. If you want to use these numbers, go right ahead. The next thing we're doing is going to create a custom sprite, and we're going to be making a photon. So let's go ahead and create a sprite, and we want to click on the edit sprite. And we want to create a new sprite. And we want it to be 32 by 32, so hit OK on that. And if we double click on this image, we have our little drawing palette here. And something you might want to do is zoom in to make this. So this is still 32 by 32, but you can see we could use the whole screen to do this with. And we're going to draw an ellipse, and the color we're going to want is a yellow. So we have a yellow. So let's see what we have here. We can do all kinds of drape. If we don't like it, we can move back. So we want the middle to be yellow. We can have an outer ring that's more yellow. And sometimes you want it centered, so sometimes it'll take a couple tries. You go from corner to corner. Well, that looks good. There. So we have a nice big yellow ball here. We have the opacity to be 255. That's what we wanted. And we can also do now a red circle inside. So the inside will be let's have it bright red. And hit OK. And then we'll have the outside be something, more like a bright orange. So we can come to the color palette here and kind of look at on colors that we want. That looks good. There, that's perfect. So you can see we could either just pick a color that's here, or we can pick here something that looks like it's a nice shade that we want, and then we can modify the color by going up and down on this. I hit OK. So let's see. I want to put that in there. That looks good. And we can hit OK. So we see we have this red and yellow. There's some orange and different colors in there. And we can hit OK. And we can call this our Sprite Photon. SPR underscore PHOTO. Sprite Photon. So now we're going to go in our Sprite editor, and we want to go under the animations, and we want to use our shrink from center, so that as the photon moves away from us, theoretically it looks like it's getting smaller. And the number of frames that we're going to use are 20 frames. So you can see it over here. If we didn't have that, show image. And we're going to change the speed to 10. So we see this taking place. All right. So now our sprite has a little animation taking place on it. The photon does. So we're going to hit OK there. We want to just hit OK on this. And now we have our Sprite UFO, our Sprite Meteor Large, our Sprite Meteor Medium, our Sprite Meteor Small, and our Sprite Photon. All right, so let's go ahead and save. Let's open up our room, and let's move this over here. Pull this out until we see the edges of the room. And in our objects, we haven't made any objects yet. So what we're going to have to do is create objects now from our sprites. So let's go ahead and leave that where it is. And create an object, Sprite UFO. And we'll call this object underscore UFO, and hit OK. And let's create an object for all of our sprites. So we got object Meteor large, and then this is object Meteor medium. We select it. Hit OK. This will be object Meteor small underscore Meteor underscore small. Object underscore Photon. All right, so all of our sprites are going to be objects. So now we can go into the room. Let's bring it up here. And now you can see we have objects. So our UFO object, we select it. There it is. And we just click anywhere we want to put it. So that looks like a good spot right there. And then we want to put 2 instances of each Meteor in different locations. That looks good. What we'll do is we'll get rid of this one. All right, that looks good like that. So hit OK. We'll go ahead and start adding events and actions to our objects to program them. So we have our object UFO, and we're going to add an event. We want to have the key press. So we'll use a key press, and we're going to use a space bar. And when we press the space bar, we're going to want to create the photons. So we want to create our photons when we press it. And we want X, Y, 0 and relative to our UFO. And then we press OK. And then we have our photon object. And we want to create. We want vertical speed to be over here. And we want the vertical speed to be -8. So that it's in the reverse direction. So you can see that the vertical speed starts from the top and heads downwards. So if we want to start from the bottom and head upwards, which is what we're going to want to do, then we're going to change this to -8. We want it to stay -8. We don't want the speed, we want a constant speed. So relative would be that every cycle that takes place, you have a -8 and then another -8. So you keep basically subtracting 8 from 8 from 8, so it goes faster, it accelerates faster and faster. But we don't want the speed to change. We don't want it to accelerate. So we're going to keep it not relative. So we hit OK right there. We're going to want to add the event that when the object photon leaves the room, so we have other outside room, we're going to want it to destroy itself. So it destroy the instant. So we can go okay, and now we can let's hit File Save, and then we could run the game and see if it works. So here's all our meteors, and they seem to be spinning faster than they look like they were spinning. So we might even want to go back and change the speeds on some of these so that they spin even slower. So technically, when I hit the space bar, you can see our pulsing photon head up from the UFO. Right? So that's all we have so far. So let's go back. Let's tweak this a little bit. If we want to change the speed of our objects in the room, we go under Settings, and we can change the speed from 30 to 10 as suggested in the book. And now if we hit play, you'll see that all of our meteorites are moving at a smaller speed than they were previously. So we could still, this goes slower. So that's in the tuning section. So we come all the way down here, launching in objects, tuning. So go into room properties and then set the speed, enter to 10. All right, now we're going to look for our origin points for our photon object. Okay, so we go back to the Game Maker, and we're going to start with our photon sprite, and we want to click center, 1616, so you can see that's the center. So our photon origin point is in the center, which is good. We hit OK, and then we go to the UFO, and we can click different places. We could change these numbers also. So 4 by 32 is actually 32 is the center, and 4 is just up by the point. So then we can click OK on that. So we're going to edit some of our settings. So we're going to change this to -20 so that as the photon goes towards the outside of the room, it shrinks. It covers more space while it does that. And we're going to add an event where we have animation end. So when it gets to the end of the animation, it also destroys the instant. Hit OK. Hit OK. File save. So let's run this and see what our changes have done. All right, so you could see that instead of pulsing, it goes towards there, and it ends right at the top. It destroys the instant right at the top. So technically, we don't need this anymore because it's not going to make it outside the room. So we can get rid of that instant altogether, and we're going to just use the animation ends. Hit OK. So we want to move our UFO, and we just recently had the game, the dragon game, and we move the dragon up and down. So we're going to be moving. We can do similar at event. We can have our keyboard event that when we push left, we want our UFO to go left. We can hit with a speed of 15. Let's say 15, and hit OK. And when we keyboard press right, we want our UFO to go right with a speed of 15. And don't forget that when we want keyboard no key, when no keys are being pushed, we want it to be 0 and OK. All right, so then we can hit OK on this. Let's hit File, Save, and then hit Run. And then we test it. We see the UFO, when I keep it pressed, it goes back and forth. When I take my finger off the key, it doesn't. And then when I hit the space bar, it shoots a photon off into the distance. Anywhere I go, it shoots the photon right off. We go back to the UFO, and we add event other. When the UFO goes outside of the room, we can use the room wrap. Which is on the Move tab. Here's our wrap screen. And we can put this up here. And we have a horizontal. We can pick horizontal, vertical, or both. But we're just moving horizontally, so we'll say OK for that. And hit OK. Once again, let's see, File, Save. Let's play the game and check this out. So you can see, as I go off the screen, I come on the other side. Oh, there I am, outside. So I can shoot these, and I can go from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen. Okay, let's take a look what we have going on here. So we have our fixed photons and our player movement. Now we have to create an explosion and then create collisions between the photons and the meteorites. So let's go in here and let's load a sprite, and we're actually going to go backwards in our sprites to the maze game, and we're going to look for an explosion strip. And here we go. There's an explosion strip. Remove backgrounds and hit open. And we're calling this Sprite underscore explode, and hit OK. And then we're going to create an object from that Sprite explosion. We're going to call it, object underscore explode. And we're going to add event the other. So we have at animation end. So when this explosion hits the end of its explosion, we get rid of that image altogether, so it doesn't cycle. It only goes through once. Hit OK. And hit OK on that. All right, so let's see how we can create these explosions. So what we want is a collision between our object photon and our object large meteor, and we want to create an instance. We're going to click Other, object. We're going to click Object, Meteor, Large, and check the relative box, and OK. OK. And let's File, Save, and let's run this. So we got the large one here. So you can see an explosion takes off on both of them at the same time. So we're going to have to fix those. All right, so in order to fix our collisions to take place in the center and not off to the side, we're going to have to hit center on this for our origin, and we'll do that with all of them while we're doing it. All right, so center, okay, center, okay, and we already had this centered, and we can center that one too. Okay. Hit OK on all that. So all of this stuff is centered. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to reopen our object photon, and we're going to change this into some block codes. So we got our controls, all right, to start block and to finish block. So we're going to have our create, which is just like we have at object meteor large, object explode, x of 0, y of 0 relative. That stays the same. And then we're going to destroy the instance of the large meteor, and we're going to destroy the instance of the, oh no, that disappears by itself. So yes, the photon. Destroy the self. And then that's the photon. And then we're going to come back over, and we're going to stop the code, and we'll hit OK, and we'll hit File, Save, and we'll run and test our game. So it moves back and forth. There's a large meteor. Let's fire at it. Oh, you see that? There you go. Now we'll fix this later, that all the objects seem to be destroyed by one photon. So let's go back and open our photon, and this is where we have so we create an explosion on the object, but what we have is we already have here, we have a collision between a photon and a meteor, and the self is acting on the photon, and the other is acting on the instance of one meteor object that it collided with in this collision that takes place. And the object means all the objects. So if we use other, then the explosion will only be exchanged on the one that it collides with, and you can OK there, same. And the same with the destroy this instance. Instead of having object, we have other, just like we had with self. So other will only destroy the meteorite that it collides with in the collision. So we hit OK. OK. Let's hit File, Save, and let's go ahead and check this out and see if it runs the way we're hoping it does. So here's a large meteor, and we fire at it, and that one, but this one's still here. So then we do the same thing over here, and we destroy that one too. Okay, so that works great. So the next thing we are going to be doing is we're going to be copying and pasting the actions. We're going to create these same actions for the medium and small meteorites. So let's go back over here. So now we have our object photon. We're going to add an event. We want a collision with our medium meteorite. We want to start a block. We want to create an instance with the other of our explosion relative and hit OK. Then we want to destroy the instance of the other. That's OK. And then we want to destroy an instance of ourself, and that's OK. And then we want to go back and end the block code. And then we want to add another event. We want a collision with our small meteorite, and we want to start our block code. We want to create a explosion relative, okay, and then we want to destroy the instance of the other, and we want to destroy the instance of the self, and then we want to close that block code. We want to hit OK. We want to file, save. Let's run this and see if we've got our code working correctly for all the meteorites that are up there. So we can get this guy, get that little guy, get that guy, we get that guy, and these guys might be too far away. Let's see. Nope. And this guy right here, and boom, they're all in the screen, so that's great. So now what we want to do is we want to do our scoring so that we can get some points, and then we can add some lives and create a high score table. So we're going to set the score. Let's go into our photon. All right, so when we have a collision, after all this takes place, we want to go under score, and we want to set the score, and let's set the score for the large ones to be 5 points relative, which means you add it to the other scores. And then we'll do this for all of them. Set score to be 10 relative, and then we'll set score to be 20 relative. Hit OK, hit OK, file, save, play. There, 5 points. $10 points. 20 points. There you go, it keeps adding up there. So now we want to work on lives. So we're going to open the object UFO, and we're going to have a create event. And in the score, we're going to want to drag the score caption. And so it's showing the score. We already have that. We're going to change this so it shows our lives that we have, and it shows the words lives. We could say lives left. We can have your score, for what it says. And hit OK. We're going to drag the set lives from the score tag. And we're going to have 3, and we're not going to have them relatives. We're just going to have them. We're going to have 3 to begin with. So this is when it creates, when the game starts, we're going to have our captions shown, and then we're going to start with 3 lives. So now we want, if the UFO collides, we're going to have a collision. If it collides with a large object, we're going to have minus a life, and this is relative to how many we have. And then we're going to have destroy instance of self, and we're going to have a destroy instance of the other object. All right, we can do this for our collision with our medium. -1, relative, okay. Destroy self, destroy other, and we can have a collision with our small object. -1, relative, destroy self, destroy other. So we don't have our objects moving right now, but what we can do is we can put a large meteor there. We can put a medium meteor there, and we could put a small medium here. And OK, hit file save, and we can test these collisions and see if these lives. So you could see it says UFO game. We told it to say that, and it says your score instead of score, and then it says lives left because we told it to say lives left instead of just lives. So it says 3. So we come over here, and it collides, and there's 2 lives left. So this works. We just need to change it so that we can come back to life to play some more. All right, let's go back. So in our instances of self, we'll get rid of that. Make sure it says other. All right, so that's okay. So file, save, and play to test it. So we lost 1 life. We lost 2 lives. We lost all our lives. 0. But we can still play. So now that we have this, we need to when the lives reach 0, we need to show our high score and end the game, and we'll do these blocks and basically just put them right in this order, just like it says in the directions over here. So we have our object UFO, our meteor large, control, start block, and then we have our test lives, value equals 0, equal to, we can put a number equal to, larger twos, whatever. So when our lives equal 0, we're going to end the game. There it is. End game. And show the high score. And we'll just keep, we can change these, but we're going to keep everything the way it is. And we're going to switch the end of the game to the bottom, and then we're going to close the block. Then we're going to do this for all the meteorites. So object small, meteor, equal to 0. Show our high score. End game. Control block. I go back and make sure we got everything all right. Then hit OK. File. Save. Run game. So you could see from our code, we need to drag this out and put it above. So it says if lives are equal to 0, then you could do this block of code. So we'll do that for each of those. Because as it says it here, it says as you destroy the instant, do all this block of code, but we don't want it to end the game to do that. So we'll do this, and we'll hit OK, and then we will run the game again. So there, lives left are 2, 1, 0, and here's our high score. And it works fine. So let's go here, file, save, and let's look. We haven't gotten the meteors to do anything yet. We just have the UFO going back and forth and firing the photons. So we're gonna have a create event, and then we're going to add the fixed movement with down, down left, and down right. Set the speeds for the large meteors 10, medium meteors 15, and the small meteors will be 20. And then we can save and test it. So let's come in here. We have our large meteor. We're going to have a create event, fix move, pick these three down here, and we have our large meteor is going to be 10. So we have a speed of 10 and hit OK. And we're going to add something. So when the meteors go outside the room, let's add a wraparound, and let's have it go in both directions, wrap around. Hit OK. And then we're going to say OK to that. We're going to do this for the other meteors. So we have a create event, and then fix move, 1, 2, 3. This one's going to be 15. Hit OK. When they go outside the room, we're going to have it wrap around in all directions. Hit OK. Hit OK. And with the small meteor, we're going to create an event. 1, 2, 3. This one's going to be 20. Hit OK. Add event. When they go outside the room, we're going to have them wrap around in all directions and hit OK. So file save, and let's go ahead and test this. Ooh. So you can see these meteors are going all over the place until we destroy them. Oh. If we get hit, we lose a life. Oops, hit the wrong button. All right, so that works fine. So we're going to add a little more. We're going to add a little more to the game now. We're going to create 3 new sprites: the apple, banana, and burger, which we're going to get from the maze platform folder. And we're going to turn these 3 sprites into objects, and then we're going to place the apple in the top left corner of the room, the banana in the center, and the burger on the top right. We're going to save our work. So, Sprite, load Sprite, maze platform. Here's our apple. Hit open. Call it Sprite underscore apple. Okay. Create a sprite. Banana. Open. Sprite underscore banana. Okay. Create a sprite. Load sprite. Burger. Burger. Open. Sprite underscore burger. All right. Now we're going to create objects. We're going to have an object apple. Okay. An object banana. Okay. And we're going to have an object burger. Okay. go to our room, click to open our room, and burger goes over here. Banana goes right here. Apple goes right there. And then we have File, Save. Check mark. File, Save. Okay, we're going to learn how to create movement paths now. So let's take a look. Movement paths. We're going to create a path with the path properties. So right up here, create a path, and you see you have a nice grid here, 16 by 16. We're going to call this path underscore apple, and we're going to see that when we click around, we can click different points and they show up here. And we have a closed loop, which means that it'll go back to where its beginning is. Right? So it'll pick the path of least resistance or straightest point back if we keep it closed. And then we have a choice of smooth or curved. So we can see the curve doesn't actually hit our nodes, but it makes a best fit line to where those nodes are. And we can change the precision, right? So if we change the precision to 1, you see it becomes more like a straight line. If we change it to 10, you see it becomes more loopy. 100. So you can see where our precision comes in here. You can see all of these path details come in here. We can add a change the speed here. We have our X and Y coordinates everywhere we click. There's X and Y coordinates show up here, or we can even enter nodes by putting, say, 600. That's way over there. Oh, 6,000. 600 by 600 by negative 600, 6,000, 300. So we could see how we could either enter these by just randomly clicking around here, or we go back and delete everything. We don't want anything to be there. All right, so now that we kind of see where this works, we're going to actually come in here and we're going to manually enter these nodes. We want a smooth curve, a closed section. So we cleared the path. We're going to start at 0, 0. Use the add button. Change it to 640, 320. Have a speed of 20. Second node, a speed of 40. Add a third at 400. At a speed of 30. Add a fourth at 216 with a speed of 10. Make sure it's closed, and then we can save the changes there. So 0, 0. Speed of 20. Change the second, so we add that. That's in there. Second node will be 640. 32. Second node speed will be 40. Add. $400. Oops. Zero. With a speed of 30. You can click on these nodes. This is supposed to be 40, so go back. Clicking on it. Change these a little bit. Just clicking on them. 648. All right, this one is right. And the fourth is 216. All right, so we have 0, 0, 640, 32, 400, 0, 216. Delete on that one. All right, so we have our little loop up here. We're gonna save it. And close it. Then we're gonna click on the Apple object. Go into our move. Want to set path. Create. Set path. And we want to pick the path Apple. We want a speed of 30. We want to continue from the start. And we want absolute. We hit OK. We hit OK. File. Save. So let's play it and test it. So you can see the apple up here is following our path, kind of wiggling up and down type of thing. So next we're going to create a path for the banana, and the first node would be placed at 320, 0, and then we could just kind of make a random path here for the banana, and then same thing for the burger. Just kind of make a couple random paths. Have the burger start at 0, 640 or 640, 0. So we come up here, create a path. We'll call this path underscore banana. And we want the first one to be 320. All right, want to set the speed to 100. We can do straight or smooth, whatever. Add, and pull this all the way out so we have this the whole top thing. And we're going to just kind of go clicky, clicky, clicky. Just something like that. Just some random path. Smooth. We can, if we want to change the precision to something more jagged. Take a look at that. We could do straight lines or smooth lines. Let's keep it on smooth lines. And this is our path banana. Okay. And then we go over to our object banana. We put a create event. We add our path. We pick path banana. Speed. Let's put 50. Continue from start. And absolute. We hit OK. We hit OK. We hit file. Save. We run the game to check our banana path. So there's our banana zipping around all over the place. Crazy, zippy banana. All right, so now we do the burger. Path underscore burger. The first one we want is 640. Then 0, and then a speed of 40. Smooth lines. Same thing. Kind of. Nothing big deal. Looks good enough. We go on our burger. Add event. Create. Oops. Path burger. 15. Hit OK. Hit OK. File. Save. Test it. So there's our burger, kind of doing a zip-a-doo. Banana, apple doesn't look like it's doing much, but it's going back and forth. So now we're going to have our meteors being created when the apple collides with the banana, when the apple collides with the burger, or when the banana collides with the burger. We have 3 different types of collisions. So we're going to start with the apple. So we click on apple, and we have a collision event when it collides with the banana, right? When it collides with the banana, then we're going to have a create event. So what it creates is the large meteor, and 0, 0 with the apple, south with the apple. And then we have a create event or collision. When it collides with the burger, we're going to create medium 0, 0 for the apple coordinates. Okay. And then we hit OK. And then we click on the banana. And when the banana collides with the burger, we're going to create small meteors. 0, 0 with the banana, and hit OK, and hit OK, and hit File, Save. And then let's run and see if, well, what we're going to do is we'll go in the room. Let's go in the room here. And let's get rid of all our meteors so that we can see, we can add them later to make it a little more challenging when we start. But we want to see if we're actually, our code's working correctly. So file, save, and then run game. All right, so see these meteors are, as they collide with each other, these meteors are being created, and it's starting to fill up pretty fast. There you go. So you can see how that works, and we could fine tune it to make it look a little better. We have it wrapping around the screen. Okay, so all we have left is you go ahead and make this game just a little bit better. Put your own touches in it. Once you have your game working properly, you can edit the banana and the burger and the apple. You can make it look like something other than a banana burger, maybe some spaceships of some sort, or you can make them invisible. The collisions will take place. You can just check them invisible. Create a title page, new room, like you've done before. You can create a help page. Locate sound samples so that you can add sounds to the game and program them to play. Save your work, and then submit it for grading, and then you're done.